No kidding. They're running for their lives. Jennifer Griffin continues our coverage live from the Pentagon. Jennifer, we know that we haven't really seen the Pentagon do much because
I think we're still playing the previous footage from our last.
But
actually, this is from a while back. Give me 1 second here.
Are the people at the Pentagon frustrated that our U.S. response has not been different?
No, I wouldn't say that, Steve. In fact, they knew that they had limited options going into this.
All right, sorry, that's from when we were covering the Fox News talking about let's just check and see what the sound is doing real quick, because we were having 1 or 2 sound issues, and then we're going to get into this, because this is obviously a lot going on. All right, so yeah, thank you all for joining us. This is Overtime. If you've got an echo or any other sound issues, please do let me know in the live chat. What do we have? Mr. Frost, welcome back. Vladimir Putin, we've noticed some rather odd behavior. Actually, Titan was the one who pointed this out. We're going to show you in a second here a clip. This is... All right, the background playing should be done, but let's just see if I do want to make sure that we've got yeah. All right. So that's funny because all right. At any rate, Titan noticed this, brought this to our attention on the Discord, and we're constantly keeping an eye on these kinds of things. And so please join us on the Discord if you want to be in the know. But this is interesting. This is a meeting Vladimir Putin had, and if you look closely, you can see he looks to be in some discomfort. And the way he's grabbing the table is actually rather unusual. He's putting this kind of death grip on it, and it's from the bottom. So he's clearly in some kind of pain here. We've been keeping an eye. There's been speculation as to his health. There's been speculation in regards to whether he's got dementia, all this other stuff. We've had this discussion several times. I haven't seen any behavior that he's actually losing his mind, the invasion of Ukraine notwithstanding. It does make sense from his point of view. It does seem, in my view, internally consistent with the way he appears to reason and always has. It is outdated. It's basically a what's the term I'm looking for? It's an old kind of he's got the old kind of old World War II, not World War II, sorry, a Cold War model and way of looking at things. But nonetheless, I do think he is, believe it or not, reasonably sane. However, he does appear to have some kind of medical issue. So the question has been, what is it? And we are. Hold on 1 second. There's always something now, isn't there? Yeah. So he appears to have some kind of medical issue, and we've been rather curious as to what it is. At this point, it looks like it's some form of surgery. He's been under the care of an oncologist, and at this point, it looks like an insider from the Kremlin has told the Daily Mole that Putin will be undergoing surgery. Now, he was anticipated to undergo surgery actually in early April. He's been putting it off. However, at this point, it looks like he can't put it off any longer. It's cancer surgery, and he's going to have to hand over power. It says Ukraine, but it looks like all of Russia to somebody for days. At this point, it looks like it's ex-FSB Chief Nikolai Patrushev. Now, Patrushev has been described as the hawkest of hawks. He is a very pro-war, unfortunately. He's also constantly using the... he's under the notion that capitalism is the easiest way to defeat capitalists. He has been advocating buying off and bribing politicians in the West. He is believed to be, in fact, the man behind Putin's belief that there is, in fact, fascists in Ukraine and that it's a huge problem. Whether or not this is actually a sincerely held belief or whether that's a sincerely held belief or that's just an excuse, we don't know. But we do believe that Nikolai Patrushev is the man behind it. So we are not expecting a kinder, gentler president. At this point, let's see, the General SVR reported that Putin is suffering from abdominal cancer, which honestly does, in fact, kind of make sense. Again, it does look in that video. Let's bring that video back up real quick. It does look like he is in... it looks like he's in considerable pain or discomfort here. So he's got some kind of cancer. At this point, they can no longer wait on the surgery. The surgery is apparently going to be really as soon as possible. With the fact that this is leaked, I don't know how that's going to affect it. Again, it was okay. So it was originally scheduled for April 2nd. And was pushed back, and at this point, the surgery cannot be delayed any further. So it is, however, also speculated that Putin is, in fact, let's see, that part of the speculation here also as well, the Daily Mail is reporting that Vladimir Putin is, in fact, considering escalating the war in Ukraine, and that he is considering actually declaring a full war and escalating the situation. We don't know what Nikolai Patrushev's view is, but we do believe that he is responsible for most of the intelligence that is going to Putin, and so far that intelligence has not been particularly accurate. Whether Patrushev has done that deliberately in order to facilitate this war, or whether he has this is genuinely his view, we don't know, but we do know that he appears to be really rather interested in escalating things himself in Ukraine, which is obviously not anyone's ideal situation. So anyone who's thinking that this is going to end up a positive thing, I mean, I think obviously there is a hope, like it or not, that Putin isn't going to survive this, if for no other reason. Well, we'll get into that in a second. I don't think anyone's particularly shocked by that view. But let's just see here. At any rate, yeah, so that's, dear Lord. Okay. So let me, what I'm going to do here now is quickly get the last bits of information here that we seem to have available. Yeah, okay, there we go. That's correct. All right, and then we're going to... All right. I think, I think we got everything we need here. All right, thank you. And standby one, and we'll go to that. I think we can do that. All right. No, that wasn't. But all right. More than one thing going on at a time here. So please forgive the. There we go. Oh my! All right. So that's. Oh, sorry, and I'll get the screen up there in just 1 second. All right. Perfect. There we go. So, let's see. Yeah, thank you. So, let me do a quick rundown of what we have at this point. 3:30 in the morning Eastern Standard. So, thank you all for joining us. What do we know? That's a really good question, and there is. Titan and a few others seem to have suggested that there's at least a possibility that this is fake for any number of reasons. Either he's going to fake his own death or whatever. Certainly entirely possible. But the interesting thing about that video. And what I made, well, no, I won't put that up just yet. But the interesting thing about that video is you can see he's got a death grip on the table. He's clearly in pain. He's had some indications that he's been in pain for quite some time now. It looks like this surgery was originally supposed to be scheduled for April 2nd. He has postponed it, and it is now no longer past postponing. This is all coming from a Kremlin insider. The Kremlin is denying all of this. And at last, we have heard the Kremlin is saying that he has no medical issues and that he is in perfect health, strong enough to ride a horse with his shirt off, apparently. But it certainly doesn't look that way. So at this point, this has been repeated by MSN, and they are basically repeating it from the Daily Mail. So you should probably take it with a grain of salt, but it strikes me that this explains a lot that we've been seeing. So at this point, we have a reasonably high, I think over an 80% confidence that this is going to happen, or that something along these lines is going to happen. So he's going to get some kind of stomach surgery, or abdominal surgery, I should say, to ostensibly remove a tumor. At this point, he's going to be under, and he's going to be recovering for some time. So he's handing the keys over to Nikolai Patrushev, who is going to ostensibly be in power while Putin is under the knife and recovering. Now, Patrushev is a hardliner, former head of the FSB, also Cold War. He is, I believe, 70 years old. So he's very much of the lines of Putin in terms of his thinking. This also means, honestly, that you don't know what he's going to do when he gets into power. I don't think it's going to be anything good in terms of Ukraine or what's going on over there. In fact, it appears that he's extremely hawkish and wishes to escalate in Ukraine. So that's a genuine concern. He is responsible, at least from what we believe at this point. All of this is a little iffy. Obviously, intelligence coming out of Russia is always speculative, but, we've had moderate success, better than moderate success so far. Hasn't been perfect. We've had better than moderate success, I think. And it looks like he is responsible for the narrative that there are fascists in Ukraine that have to be dealt with. Now, whether or not he actually believes this or whether he has fabricated this to create the war, we don't know. But right now, it does appear that he's the one responsible for that narrative. So he's eager for this war and may be, in fact, one of the driving forces behind it. So we'll see what happens when he gets put in charge. The prognosis for Putin, if he undergoes this, now it's abdominal surgery, presumably some kind of abdominal cancer. These are extraordinarily serious. He was supposed to undergo surgery on the 2nd. Now, Putin's not stupid. If it was life-threatening, I have to believe he'd have done it when on April 2nd. On or about when it was recommended. Having said that, he has attempted to put it off until May 9th. This is Victory Day commemoration of Russia's World War II victory. And we believe, we had on Commander McMillan, and we believe that they're actually already practicing exercises to celebrate victory in Ukraine on May 9th. Regardless of what the reality is on the ground, we believe there's going to be a celebration and some form of declaration of victory on May 9th. So we believe he's been putting surgery off until that point. Excuse me. And but at this point, it looks like it's no longer possible, and he's going to undergo surgery before then. It is now May 1st. As of this airing, at least Eastern Standard. Actually, it's May 1st across the U.S. So clearly, it seems to me, I'm going to be drawing an inference here, obviously, but it seems to me that whatever it is serious enough now that he just cannot put it off. I mean, that's about a little over a week, and he apparently can't put it off even that week. So I have to believe it's extraordinarily serious. I have to believe that about my... Jesus. We had a discussion on In Time once about whether it was okay to wish ill on Trump, who I believe really was an existential threat to the U.S. And is it okay to wish him dead? And not to do anything about it, by the way. So let's be clear on the difference of nuance there. And because I don't want, let's be crystal clear. And my position has always been, no, it's not okay, for any number of reasons that we explained before. But I realize in sitting this and thinking about this, that the fact that Nikolai Patrushev could in fact be worse, that notwithstanding, I am not sitting here hoping that he makes it, and I will be completely honest about that. And that's not usually in line with anybody who's been watching the show. But on the flip side, Putin is obviously a threat to a great many people, if not the entire planet. What Nikolai Patrushev is going to do, I don't know. Whether or not he would try to use this to seize power, I don't know. That strikes me as a possible another reason that Putin has been putting this off. The reality is, the way they like to come into power there is deposition, deposed with extreme prejudice. The previous leaders end up getting replaced in one way or another. And this is an extreme vulnerability for Putin now. Patrushev is a hardliner. He appears to be reasonably in line with Putin, and for the most part, for Putin, that's good news. But for the fact that Putin is the most ruthless, one of the most ruthless sons of bitches on the fucking planet. So if this guy's anything like Putin, then if this guy wants power, he will try to seize it. He may want it, he may not. Yeah, they're all power hungry, but they're not stupid either, and they know what the sword of Damocles is. It may be that if Putin's given him enough power where he is, he'd rather sort of stay the puppet master behind Putin and just, give him intel and not sit there and be the guy who's facing the firing squad. So who knows? What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to catch up with the live chat, take a quick rest on my voice there, and we'll do another rundown, and I'll try to get this sorted. So let's see what the live chat is saying. All right. Hawkish of hawks. Yeah. Well, things escalated. Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. We'll see the footage again. Let me, what I can do. Let's. What I think it may be worth doing at this point. Yeah. Let me. Why don't I?
No kidding. They're running for their lives.
Oh, there we go again.
Jennifer Griffin continues our coverage live from the Pentagon. Jennifer, we know that we haven't really seen the Pentagon.
That's from an old story, and the video is still loaded, and for some reason auto-playing. Well, how about we replace that video? All right, here's what I'm going to do. Let's put up the video in the center window there. There we go. All right. So what we've got here is the that is Putin and his death grip. Titan noted it's an underhanded grip, which is unusual, and it's probably, if he's got an abdominal pain, it may be that holding and even applying pressure and lifting up is alleviating whatever the pain is. But he's aware of, listen, he's a former FSB, he's a former spy, he's a former assassin. He knows that people are watching his every movement. And by the way, he hasn't been letting anyone get this close to him for a very long time because he's been fearing assassination. He hasn't even been letting his closest advisors get this close to him. So something has changed, and assassination doesn't appear to be entirely his biggest concern here. Now, we've discussed this before. several times. Originally, when he was having these meetings at these tables, 24 feet long, and he was having diplomatic exchanges on the opposite end of it, the thinking was that he was paranoid, he was losing it, he was delusional, he was worried he was going to get COVID, yada, yada, yada. The thinking now is that was not the case, and instead he was fearing assassination. It's hard to say. We're dealing with the best that we can get out of intelligence. We do know that there's a lot of concern about what's happening in Ukraine. We know this because a number of people are saying it, and because of how many people are getting away with saying this publicly and staying alive. You don't get to say that if you're Russian, you don't get to say we shouldn't be in Ukraine. This is a war. We're losing. You don't get to say that publicly and live. And a lot of people have been saying that publicly and living. So we believe at this point, the last numbers that I saw, he's still amongst sort of the average Russian population, those who are weighing in on the issue, which is less than half. About 20% are firmly against him and 80% in support. Now, those numbers aren't necessarily all that huge, but that's near the tipping point historically in Russia when you start to see regime change. We don't know what the real numbers are. We don't know if he's past the tipping point on regime change, and there's a bit of a gray area there, but we know he's approaching it. We know that one of the oligarchs put out a $1 million bounty on LinkedIn for Putin dead. That was an interesting one. And we know that the Russian people are suffering, and some of them have a pretty decent awareness of how and why, far more than he would like. They've shut down basically all internet. They've also recently shut down gas to their gas exports. They're kind of shooting themselves in the foot. They need those exports to, I think it was Finland, and one other country. I'm sure someone will put that in the live chat. It's one of the only sources of money that they've got, but it's... Hold 1 second. All right. Thank you. All right. Give me 1 sec, folks. Hold on. All right, apologies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another rundown, and didn't finish with the live chat, so let me, he appears, I mean, listen, we've all been there, right? You know, you get bad gas pain, you have abdominal pain of some kind. You know, if you're sitting down, grab onto the table, clench all of your abdominal muscles, you know, try to use your arm to leverage a bit. You can maybe alleviate some of that, and it looks like that's what he's trying to do. But he's also not hiding it, and this is a guy, I mean, this is, again, he's a former spy. He has to be in serious pain. Most of the abdominal cancers that I'm aware of are, as far as I'm aware, some of the more painful ones, cancers you can get. So what I'm going to do is note the tapping of the foot. I hadn't even seen that. So let's run this video here, and we'll let it loop. And that's a nice catch. Tightened. Let me frame that up just a little bit so maybe we can see his foot a bit better. Well, we're not going to see it when they're zooming in on him. That's helpful, guys. Thanks. All right. Let me, if I can frame that up just a touch, we might be able to, as it comes around again, see his foot a bit better. There we go. Let's see what we got there. But yeah, he's struggling. All right, so I'm going to do a rundown in a second. Let's see. Putin must be the most scared person on earth. I don't know. He doesn't strike me. I mean, I'm Michael. He pays attention. Yeah, I need one of my I need a smoothie. I need my Oreo smoothies. That's what I need. Thank you. Okay, so there's the foot, Thank you, Michael, for that $5 super chat. I say this a lot, and we're going to... We get demonetized quite a lot. Our last episode, of course, got demonetized. About 50% get demonetized. I'm sure we'll get struck on this one for something. So thank you very much for your continued support. So... Steve, same kung fu grip Steve Austin used to use. Yeah, I need an Oreo. I need the Oreo. It's a medical necessity, quite frankly, at this point. Thank you. You see, Michael understands. My audience understands. I think my wife needs to talk to my audience. No, that's probably a bad idea, actually, now that I think about it. All right. So, all right. Where do we stand? I'm going to do another rundown. Barring any other questions, I think we'll leave it at that. We don't need to get into it. We don't know a whole heck of a lot right now. What we do know is easily worth breaking with. So what do we know? It looks like we have a reasonably high confidence at this point that Putin has cancer of some kind. This cancer is requiring a surgery. We believe at this point the surgery... we believe it's an abdominal cancer. We believe that he was scheduled for surgery actually on April 2nd and postponed it. It looks like he wanted to postpone it until after the victory celebration on May 9th. Now, this is the World War II victory celebration. We do believe, and we've covered this before, that he's actually planning to do a victory over Ukraine celebration there, sort of a mission accomplished. We've talked about whether or not he'd use that as an exit. We don't know. At this point, it looks like he can no longer postpone it. He's going to have to get the surgery, and it's going to be reasonably significant, is what it looks like. So, we believe, there's obviously he's going to go under for the surgery. While he's having the surgery and while he's recovering, he's going to be handing the keys over to Nikolai Patrushev. Now, Nikolai Patrushev has been described as, quote, the most hawkish? What was the description? I should look that up. I had that written down somewhere. Of hawks, and responsible for the claim that there are fascists in Ukraine which need to be expelled. Now, he has been responsible for much of the intelligence that Putin gets. This includes the faulty intelligence, whether it was faulty by design or by accident. We don't know if it was by design. This could easily be the man who did it, or maybe that was, Putin simply wanted it invented. But we do believe that he's the one who posited that they have to go in for the fascists and gave the sort of the Bush's brain, I guess, kind of scenario for those of you who understand that reference. So he's going to be in power. We don't know for how long, but it looks like it's going to be several days. We don't know when it's going to start. My suspicion is, especially now that this is out, it's probably going to start reasonably soon. At this point, it looks like, again, I don't think Putin is mentally compromised, which means he's aware of what he's doing, and it looks like this is life-threatening enough that he has to do it, and he has to do it right away. So, and I don't think he's stupid enough to wait, although he's ostensibly already waited. So, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. We'll see, but there are a lot of things that could happen. I think there's a 50-50, assuming all of this is accurate. And I think it probably is reasonably accurate. There's probably some details we're missing or have wrong, but I think it's reasonably accurate. I think there's, assuming that he goes under the knife and hands over power in the next couple of days, which I think is probably quite likely. How's that going to turn out? There's a 50-50. Nikolai Patrushev comes to power, does his thing. It seems to me like he might escalate the war. May also give Putin cover on escalating the war. Putin then comes back, deals with things there. The other thing that Mr. Patrushev has to realize is if anything goes wrong from this point forward, Putin's going to blame him. So even if he stays the course, when Putin comes back, Putin can always say, oh, he was supposed to do something while I was under, he didn't do it, blame him for anything that heads south from now on. So this is going to get really complicated for everybody who's there. He may try to take power. I don't think Putin's in a position to stop him if he does, and I don't know what the odds are of Putin, A, surviving this surgery just naturally. It looks pretty serious to me. Now, again, according to the Kremlin, he's got nothing wrong with him, and he's healthy enough to ride a horse without a shirt on. But that's not true, I think. And I think that this footage demonstrates that. We've been concerned about his health. Concerned. Okay, concerned may not be the. We've had some observation. Excuse me. Some observations about his health up until now. So, we'll see. At any rate, I mean, there's a decent possibility. I have to believe there's a decent possibility he's not going to make it through this. Aside from the possibility of a coup, these kinds of surgeries are pretty serious. Even if he makes it, even if nothing goes wrong, which is also, I think, a fair possibility. So I'm not sitting here saying that he's done, but this strikes me as reasonably serious. Otherwise, there wouldn't be this urgency. So, okay, hold on. Yeah, we don't Geostrubber, we don't know what kind of surgery it is. It's something in the abdomen to remove what appears to be a tumor. So it's some kind of the removal of a tumor somewhere in the abdomen area. We don't know. He was supposed to get it April 2nd. He did not. He wanted to wait until after May 9th when they were going to celebrate Victory Day. It looks at this point like that is no longer an option. Now, here's the next question. I'm not an oncologist, but my understanding of most of these kinds of cancers is when it gets to this point, all they're really doing is extending your life. A lot of times when you have a significant cancer, if you're a bit older, the hopes are that you die with it instead of it. But if the surgery is this urgent, he can't wait a week, is what it seems to be, and he's clearly uncomfortable in this video here. There's something wrong. My suspicion is, okay, even if they do the surgery, he's going to be a reasonably diminished man for quite some time, and probably his life expectancy strikes me as shortened. Now, yes, this is speculation, so let's just keep that in mind. It's speculation, but it's reasonably educated on, my experience with this kind of thing, and admittedly some gray area information here. So that's what we've got. He was supposed to go for the surgery, at least from this leak in the Kremlin, on April 2nd. He wanted to wait and no longer can. So we are expecting within the next few days he will go under the knife. If they hold true to form, they won't make an announcement. I mean, the Kremlin is saying that he's fine. So what we will probably see is nobody's going to see him for a couple of days, and Mr. Patrushev will not make a big deal about the fact that he's in charge. In fact, a big deal is the last thing he wants to do. Is the same reason that Kim Jong-un's sister didn't want to make a big deal when she was in charge, because makes it look like you're making a play for the crown. So we'll see what happens. There's a 50-50 that everything turns out fine for him, and he wakes up and returns to power and nothing big happens. But I think there's also at least a 50-50 that Patrushev, who seems to have been responsible for most of the intelligence, who seems to really despise the West, despise capitalism, and to be very aggressive on the idea of taking Ukraine. There's a possibility he escalates this, and there's a possibility that was planned. So we don't know, but Putin's not going to hand over. Putin's worked his ass off to get where he is. He's not handing this over unless he has to, and I think it's a huge risk for him. So we're going to see. Anyways, that's where we are. Let's All right. We're going to keep an eye on it. As soon as we know anything else, we will let you guys know. If you haven't already, please do like and subscribe. The likes really do help. If they didn't, I wouldn't be whoring myself out for them every time I get a chance. But it really does help us with the algorithm. So do comments. Please leave a comment in the comment section. We do read all the comments, and we reply to most of them. Also, join us on the Discord. That's where you learn about this stuff first. All this came into the Discord, and we processed it like we processed most of the stuff, and then went live. So join us on the Discord, see what we do, participate in what we do, and also consider becoming a patron. Because again, we believe me, we're not going to get through the monetization except for the occasional super chat encouraging those medicinal Oreos. So thank you again, Michael. Thank you all for joining us, and we will keep you informed as we learn more. Thank you.